Thrive and Live. Buy original. Be original. SON.
We will continue to do everything possible to bring our services closer to you. Yes, you are esteemed consumer. Spokesman of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Bola Fashina, reiterates SON's commitment to promoting effective consumer advocacy and empowerment. As Standard and You feels the pulse of the ordinary Nigerian on the activities of the Standards Organization of Nigeria. The program is Standard and You, brought to you by the Standards Organization of Nigeria.
The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, brings a new lease of life to Nigeria SMEs. SON has put a greater premium on developing standards to improve made in Nigeria products for export. We have developed more standards for products like sesame, cocoa, gari, and more, courtesy of our accredited state-of-the-art laboratories. In keeping with the federal government's ease of doing business, SON has simplified its processes and turned around time for SUNCAP, MANCAP, and other certification processes. SON has intensified market surveillance, raids, and seizures to reduce substandard products in circulation, and offenders shall be prosecuted. Join SON in ridding our nation of substandard products. If you see something, say something. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving lives through standards.
Thanks for watching. It's Standard and You, Nigeria's foremost product safety and quality program on television. The past year was characterized by various initiatives and activities by the SON to empower and protect consumers from fake and substandard products. What impressions have these programs and those before the year 2017 by the agency left in the mind of the ordinary man on the street? Alimoto Sifo spoke to some Nigerians. Please take a look.
There are thousands of products in various markets across the country. These goods are either produced locally or imported into the country. One of the cardinal objectives of the producers or manufacturers of products is to ensure that consumers get value for their money whenever they purchase and make use of these products. For quite some time now, Nigerians have had to contend with the prevalence of substandard and fake goods. This development has placed a huge burden on the Standards Organization of Nigeria and other related government agencies tasked with the responsibility of protecting consumers. While the Standards Organization of Nigeria continue to introduce measures to cleaning up our markets, mixed reactions have continued to trail the agency's efforts in this regard.
I know standard organization exists, they regulate quality of products and stuffs we consume. I expect much better from them. You improve on things you do, there's always a room for improvement.
Standard organization is established to regulate the standard of electronics equipments and other related equipments. I bought a particular phone in the market, in our Ikeja market here, and my experience was very, very frustrating. As a matter of fact, at the point in time, I wanted to report the importer of that product to the authority.
They are doing well, but there's need for them to do more because there's a lot of substandard products in the country, and there's need for them to do more, in checking all these things. Are you getting that? For the betterment of Nigerians and for Nigeria.
They just have to go back to the drawing board, check on things they had, get back to the standard and make sure things still have their standard. And for those that don't have the standards, there's no need to pamper them. Because if you treat them with strong hand, they'll come back and they'll know that there's a standard.
They make sure that any substandard products should not be allowed within the coast of the country. And within the present dispensation, or for some years now, Standard Organization of Nigeria is coming up. You see, before we see a lot of substandard products in the country, even in pharmaceutical products, you see. And so many people have died ignorantly because they bought something they thought was a standard product and not knowing that it is substandard. And now the SON has been coming on board. So many times we see in the newspaper and also see in the televisions where they confiscated a lot of substandard products and even get them burnt. And if they have not done that, all those things would have had their ways in the market. And eventually, the public would have just gotten all those things because they are unsuspecting that those products were substandard.
They've been doing so fine over the years, but we are also looking on to them to do more because their major duties and responsibility is to check the substandard products that are coming into the country and have a way of blocking them not to come in. And the one that sneak in by the way of smuggling, they should be able to go after them and confiscate them, maybe destroy them so that they can learn from it. 2018 is for them to sit up and do more because their activities affect the whole Nigerians. If they are doing well, we will do well. If they are doing bad, we are also doing bad. So I think they have been trying, and let them continue to do what they are doing. It's a good job. They should not compromise.
Some respondents are of the opinion that the SON has made remarkable strides in empowering the consumer through its programs and stakeholders workshop.
It's getting a bit complex in the country because you see all sort of fake things. So the basic thing is just to increase their regulation and perhaps hold people responsible. What I mean is that there are so many people that will bring the fake things in. What are we doing about dealing with those guys? When we don't have a standard dealing with them, at the end of the day, it will not be worthwhile at the end of the day. Because if I bring it in, you didn't punish me for bringing in the wrong thing, of course I will pack more, you understand? So there should be a standard, punishment system.
Standards Organization of Nigeria is our working partner, and we have a working relationship with the market, and this is a body that is saddled with the responsibility of standard regulations of quality of products and services, and this is one critical aspect of making sure that things we use, things we sell, things we produce, things we import fall in standard with a particular threshold. And that's why we have, we as an organization, I mean Captain, has formed this synergy in 2017, going forward onto 2018 and beyond to make sure that everything that goes on around us is regulated, and this standards organization is just to make sure that our quality standards are met.
My expectation is for them to do more on what they are doing as a regulatory agency, at which they have been regulating a lot of things in Nigeria and are making things happening in Nigeria and make sure that they cancel the wrongs, they make the right, and I believe in this 2018 they're going to do better.
Over the years, the activities so far has been somehow good. This is the right time for them now to improve their activities, come out with different strategies, and they'll be able to assist companies, assist organizations and other corporate bodies to be able to do well.
Well, the point that they should work harder and make sure that, because without quality, whatever we are consuming is nonsense, useless. It's just eating what it brings us untimely death.
Confiscating the products or the item should not be the end of it. There should be prosecution so that it gives the others, it sends signal to the others that, this has been done, then I shouldn't go into it.
Others believe that the SON needs to do more to check the influx of substandard products into the country from other parts of the world, especially China. They want the agency and the Nigeria Customs Service to do more and adopt effective collaborative approach to checking the distribution of fake and substandard products in Nigeria.
They have been trying so far, they have been doing their job, but more effort. They really need to make more effort towards production of goods that come into the country, and the government should also look for a means of supporting them in case they need any, government assistance, so that the country can move forward and the things that comes into the country will stay for our own good.
A lot is being done recently to enlighten people. I also feel that they have improved a lot in terms of training now. A lot of people, stakeholders from other organizations, unlike before, it's limited to maybe some staff. These days, if a training is being run, you have other stakeholders, you have customs, you have VIO, you have road safety, they attend their program. So by so doing, people are being carried along to know that a lot of these things, we need to be able to work together as a team to put our life safe.
However, they all agree that there are challenges. Government, they say, must continue to support the agency to develop capacity to tackle the menace of fake goods in Nigeria.
Wow, Chief Mike, how are you? Fine. I'm going to Sun office for the certification of my wheat flour.
Oh no, things have changed. Sun has simplified all its activities. You could have even stayed back in Kano and process all your papers online. Whoa.
With the efforts of Sun, the products of SMEs can now compete globally. Sun has put in place necessary machineries in support of the growth of SMEs. At highly subsidized charges, SMEs can now get their certification, laboratory testing of their products, as well as purchase of standards. Meanwhile, Sun is carrying out massive seizure of substandard goods in the market and have gotten legal backing to prosecute offenders, all to protect consumers and SMEs. Sun, improving life through standards.
Welcome back and thanks for watching Standard and You. Standards Organization of Nigeria pledges more consumer advocacy to empower more Nigerians on product safety and quality.
It's common practice to find most proactive organizations, both in public and private sectors, re-strategize at the beginning of every new year. The idea is to examine activities of the past year, identify areas of weaknesses and strength with a view to overcoming challenges and prefer solutions with special focus, building a more successful and stronger brand. The Standards Organization of Nigeria is one of such organizations. The agency's public relations officer, Bola Fashina, told Standard and You in an interview that so much has been invested to develop capacity, acquire some basic facility, and requisite personnel to provide excellent service.
We are starting 2018 on a platform of advocacy. We want to ensure that the consumer, is empowered further than now. So we're doing a lot of activities in form of advocacy in different parts of the country on all aspects of our activities, starting with the Act and then going to the issue of knowledge, rights and obligations regarding, the quality of products. The consumers need to know what to do, how to do it, and where to go. Now, why are we doing all of this? Because if the consumer is adequately knowledgeable, the fight against substandard products is half won. Reason being that if they do not patronize those substandard products, the cloned ones, the fake ones in the market, those who are going to bring them or producing them will have no more markets and they will stop doing that. As part of that activity, we are also introducing a product authentication system, which is a unification of all the efforts that we've made before. Our mandatory conformity assessment program, for locally manufactured products, our SONCAP offshore conformity assessment program for products that are coming from out of the country. Now, all of that you can now easily check through the product authentication mark, which ensures that at the point of purchase, the consumer can decide, no, this is not original, I'm not buying. This is not original, I'm dropping it. Once we are able to get to that point, gradually substandard, cloned, fake products will phase out of the market. At least, if not totally, they will reduce substantially. So that's where we're going in 2018 to ensure that. And of course, I must also tell you that the issue of prosecution is also going to be brought to the front burner. For everybody who gets caught, the law, the ignorance of the law is no excuse. You can be sure that the SUN Act 14 of 2015 will be brought to bear fully. So we will ensure that we do our homework. We will ensure that our laboratories are able to turn out the results as fast as possible. And with those results, we will take you to court. and the courts will have the opportunity of determining what to do in line with the Act of Son.
Mr. Fashina explained that the agency recorded remarkable success the past year, but will focus more on consumer advocacy.
The issue of consumer satisfaction comes in because manufacturers produce products to meet the expectations of consumers. If these expectations are not being met, the feedback that we get from those consumers also goes into the review of the standards. And those are the reasons why SON has to be involved in issues of consumer feedback, to give opportunities to consumers to tell us whether the products that they are buying are meeting requirements of the standards or not, or meeting their own requirements. So, and if you notice, what we do in terms of consumer advocacy and consumer involvement is to, mediate between the buyer and the seller. When we do that, to ensure that the buyer is able to get value for money or redress, as the case may be. But our sister agency, the Consumer Protection Council, can go far beyond this because they, by law, are required to stand in for the consumer. So if the consumer feels seriously aggrieved, they can go to court on behalf of that consumer.
SON's public relations officer disclosed that the Standards Organization of Nigeria has concluded plans to upgrade its various laboratories, especially the ultra-modern facility in Ogba, Lagos, which has 35 laboratories.
Standards Organization of Nigeria has over the years been trying to improve on its infrastructural facilities, particularly as it has to do with testing and metrology. A lot of efforts, a lot of resources, financial, human, material have gone into that. To date, we have internationally accredited laboratories in food technology, biological and chemical. But we are equipping about 35 labs located at our complex in Ogba Industrial Estate in Lagos. And all of those labs were also putting forward for international accreditation. This is to ensure that we serve not just Nigeria but the West Africa sub-region. They may not all be ready at the same time, but like I said, some are ready as I'm talking to you. Others, are being equipped. By the, first half of this year, hopefully, a large percentage of the labs should be ready to take off. But more importantly is that we want all of these labs internationally accredited, such that every test they carried out there can be acceptable anywhere in the world.
The agency, he stressed, remains committed to ensuring that only goods of acceptable standards find their ways into the market and will continue to collaborate with other relevant government agencies.
Standards Organization of Nigeria, Consumer Protection Council, agencies like NAFDAC, FIRO, all of them sit together at technical committee meetings for the development of standards, for the new elaboration, for review, for adoption. That we sit together. And it is those standards that finally come out with the organized private sector. It is those standards that the Consumer Protection Council now uses as basis to fight on behalf of the consumer. It is those standards that organizations like NAFDAC use to regulate food and drugs and all of those other things under their purview. So that's where the linkage comes. With respect to the Consumer Protection Council, we are even under the same Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. So we are brothers and sisters. We work together in harmony.
Wow, Chief Mike, how are you? Fine. I'm going to Sun office for the certification of my wheat flour.
Oh no, things have changed. Sun has simplified all its activities. You could have even stayed back in Kano and process all your papers online. Whoa.
With the efforts of Sun, the products of SMEs can now compete globally. Sun has put in place necessary machineries in support of the growth of SMEs. At highly subsidized charges, SMEs can now get their certification, laboratory testing of their products, as well as purchase of standards. Meanwhile, Sun is carrying out massive seizure of substandard goods in the market and have gotten legal backing to prosecute offenders, all to protect consumers and SMEs.
Sun, improving life through standards.
not forget, our vision at the Standards Organization of Nigeria is to improve life through standardization and quality assurance. Up next is feedback.
Welcome to the feedback segment of the program Standard and You. I am Halimot Osifo. Our first message here is from Nelson. It says, please, what do I need to look out for when buying a product in order to buy the best? There are a lot of things to consider. First, ensure that you check the expiry date of the products before purchase. Then you look out for sun certification marks such as the sun cap and man cap logos. I hope that answers your question, Nelson. Anonymous message here says, work well done. Your good performance is being felt by Nigerians. Thank you so much for that commendation. Abdul Salam Kozim says, please, for those that missed the last episode, is it available on YouTube? Sure, you can watch any episode so far online at youtube.com/standardandyou. Don't just view, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be glad you did. Kenneth Ike says, well done, DG, sir. Greater things ahead of you and the organization at large. Thank you so much, Kenneth. And that's the much we can take on the feedback segment of the program. Remember, we all have a role to play in tackling the menace of fake and substandard products in Nigeria. As consumers, you can become safety vanguards by insisting on quality and reporting any case of fake and substandard products to any of SUN's offices near you. For any information, call us or send us a message on the number 0705-972-4455. You can also follow us on any of our social media platforms, on Facebook at Standard and You, Instagram and Twitter at Standard and You _. You can also send a mail to the address thestandardandYou@gmail.com. Have a great week.